All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening in, you just heard the nostalgic Presec anthem. I mean, it's rather nostalgic, more nostalgic for us here on campus because, I mean, this is where we passed through for about 2.5 years. And we are back here to make another historic story with Reverend Emmanuel Ambrose Asamoah. Well, if you are not listening in or if you want an alternative channel to listen to, you can go to the Zeno FM radio app, zeno.fm/Odadee radio. And then the Odadee radio app itself, if you haven't downloaded, you can download it from the Google App Store or the Apple Store. We're also on Facebook live streaming, Odadee Radio Ghana. And then you can also get us on Instagram and Twitter, as they say, at Odadee Radio. WhatsApp and SMS us at 0200092925. 0200092925. And then we have the studio phone 030-255-1014. 030-255-1014. We've made a lot of noise about this program because, I mean, there's nothing. I'm even lost for words. I mean, I am truly honored to be in one studio and in one school with Reverend Emmanuel Ambrose Asamoah. My name is Aglago Charles Edem, and I'm going to be doing this encore with my co-host.
So my name is Jerry Gavu. My mates call me Kojo Mensa. With all the twists that come to it, Mango, shout out to you.
So we are trying very, very hardly, or very, we are stressing ourselves to put on a deeper voice than we usually put on because we are trying to match our voice against a man who has all the voice.
Exactly.
I am not going to introduce. I'm going to let him introduce himself because as we talk, you will be asking, where's Mr. Asamoah? Where's Reverend Asamoah? So Reverend Asamoah is here and he's going to introduce himself to us. Reverend Asamoah, the mic is yours.
Thank you very, very much.
Wow.
Thank you very, very much. Well, as I normally say, from the beginning, when the students come to Presec Fresh, I introduce myself to them during orientation, and then I say that when you have lived well through Presec, and Presec passes through you, you come out very successfully, and then between you and I, we are able to chew kebab from one stick. That means that we are all old boys.
Yes.
Yes, so this is, if it's Presec, then I can easily say Mr. Asamoah. Because when people call me Mr. Asamoah, then I know the area they come from. Yes, I know the background. Normally it has to do with Presec. There are a lot of parents who in my church still call me Mr. Asamoah because they had more interaction with me when I was here with their children here. Yeah, so this is Mr. Asamoah who came to Presec as a student, left, went to roam about a little, then came back to teach. Yeah, came back to teach with the purpose of impacting lives of young people who must grow from boys to men. Yes, and I think I will talk more about that later on. And then also I was here to teach art, but I found myself doing more of discipline teaching than art because that covered almost every student and some teachers as well. Yeah. I said some teachers because of certain rules I took upon myself along the line. I happen to be a Reverend Minister. I was ordained along the line whilst I was teaching, and throughout the seasons, well, before I was even ordained, like I invited somebody to my ordination and he said, this one, it is too, what did he say? He said it was over time, that kind of thing. Yeah. Because that's the thing I've been doing all the time. I've always sought to do what God asked me to do. And that must affect somebody else, especially the younger generation. So I came to teach art and I found myself teaching discipline and then catching up with all houses, even though I was assigned to one house at a particular time. And then it happened that work was done and we continued to do work. So today I found myself here in the studios again, this time at the end to receive the bullets. Yes.
The year, can you remind us of the year that you started and when you did?
The year that I started teaching. Okay, so I came to Presec as a student in 1969, 23rd September. I got here around 3:45 p.m. and reported, yes. And then I left here in July 2nd, 1974. 2 days after I left Presec in 1974, I was supposed to write a teacher training exam in Hohoe. Yeah, on the 4th of July, but I made it and I went in there. Then I jumped into Presbyterian Training College. From Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, I went to Presbyterian Training College. And then later on, I had to come back in 1982, 2nd November, to Presbyterian Boys Secondary School to come and start work properly.
Wow. I think Mr. Asamoah, Reverend Asamoah, is being charitable with us by saying that we are all old boys. when I put on my maths cap and I calculated, it's been 49 good years since he left Presec.
Wow.
Yes. We are just doing 20 years of just 20 years of. We are not a contemporary of Mr. Asamoah at all. But like he said, he's a very open man, and he's accepted that we are all Odadee, and we can all sit and chew kebab.
That's right. From one stick, specifically.
And that's the beauty. And that's the beauty about being an Odadee. Wherever you go, once you meet an old boy and you say Odadee, the way they treat you changes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So what is interesting about this conversation is that we are treating Mr. Asamoah's interview at a tripartite engagement level. I'm using the Presec English. Tripartite because we are treating it as Mr. Asamoah as a student.
That's right.
We are treating Mr. Asamoah as a visual arts tutor.
Okay.
We are treating Mr. Asamoah as a senior housemaster, which we've all known him to be. Now, when he started speaking, then I went back into memory, and then I can hear Mr. Asamoah say from house 1, and I'm in house 8, and I can hear him saying, "All lights out." It's amazing how the lights would just go off till it reaches house 8, and finally everything is down. Mr. Asamoah, glad to have you. Glad to have you.
Thank God for making it possible.
But
yes,
your childhood.
Yeah.
Your childhood. Like, I mean, your parentage and all that. We don't know so much about it. We only concentrate on Presec. Can you please tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. According to Psalm 139, God formed me, and then He molded me in my mother's womb, somewhere in 1955, and then He opened the doors for me to be released in 1956. 31st March, I landed. Yeah, I landed deep in the night, close to 1st April, but I was bound to escape 1st April anyway.
For obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons. Yeah, so 31st March, I came out, and then that was when my parents were in Osu. And my mother's grandmother was in Jamestown. And I realized that my grandparents were living in Jamestown anyway. Both my mother and my father were working at the Ministry of Education, which was very close to our home in Osu. Yes, so whenever they had to go to work, then it means that I have to be dropped off at my grandma's place when my eyes started opening for school. So around 4 years, I was taken to Palladium Square Day Nursery, which is still existing now. I'm happy to know that. Yes, Palladium Square Day Nursery. That's very close to Palladium. I'm sure a lot of people know Palladium around Bukom. Mentioning Bukom means that this is where I grew up.
Okay.
This is where I started having the strength to stand before people, the strength to be able to control systems and people and all that.
We are beginning to understand.
That's right.
I don't want to cut you. The name Asamoah, genealogy, and then the name Asamoah, it doesn't sound anything like Bukom or a Gang community.
No, at all.
So how does this come in? Asamoah, and then you living in Osu, and you living in Bukom.
That's right. As I said, my parents were working at the Ministry of Education head office.
Okay.
That is why I came to live in Osu. They came there, and then in Bukom, my grandparents were living there. So I had to spend a lot of time with my grandparents whenever my parents had to go to work. Asamoah is my father's name that was given to me. In fact, my own home name. Practically every Ghanaian has got a home name, a first name, and then a surname. And some people have family names. Yeah. So truly, I'm supposed to be Asamoah. My whole name is Asamoah, and my
Interesting.
family name is Asamoah.
So fast forward into
Yes.
Presec. Fast forward into Presec. As a student, what's your favorite or fondest memory of Presec?
Fondest memory of Presec as a student. They were my Sunday evenings. Sunday evening, Sundays we have to wear white throughout the day. And I grew up a Catholic because my mother was a Catholic, and she brought me through the system. My father was Anglican. And so when we came to Presec, I got to know that there was a Catholic church on the University of Ghana campus where students were made to attend, from Presec. So I just had to look around for a few Catholic students, and then we'll go to University of Ghana Legon for our first mass. Normally by 6:30 we are there. So we'll go and come back before breakfast. Then also, after that, we'll be in our white and hang around easily on the compound. We didn't have prep. Later on, prep was introduced on Sunday afternoons. But we had to hang around on the compound, and some receiving visitors here and there and all that. Then in the afternoon, we'll go and take what we call yam and granite soup, where you have to use cutlery sets. I must confess, some of the yams were very, very stubborn in those days. And trying to cut through with your knife, you are easily prone to spill the groundnut soup and the yam into your white dress. And so that was one area where we had to get ourselves disciplined with. Know how to do it so you don't spill your dress with a groundnut soup. In the evening, we'll just add our coat on top of it, and then we'll go to evening service. And I love the evening services, Sunday evening service. We're going to sing a lot of hymns, at least 5 hymns in the evening. And then this got me very excited. I had a cousin who was older than myself, and he would always pull me when I was in the day nursery school. He would pull me when we were out of school. He said, "Hey, Kwame, come and sit down. Let's sing some hymns." He would open the hymn book, and he would start singing. And he would sing and sing the hymns until the hymns got into me.
Mr. Asamoah, right on the note of the hymns.
Yes.
What's your favorite hymn?
My favorite hymn. It's very, very difficult for me to pick a hymn.
A number of them.
Safe in the Arms of Jesus. Yes, it's one of my favorites.
Safe.
Yes.
You know how to sing that?
Yes. Safe in the arms of Jesus.
Truly
Yes.
Presbyterian.
There by his love was shaded, sweetly my soul shall rest. Hearing the voice of angels, joining a song to me. Over the hills of glory, over the jasper sea, safe in the arms of Jesus, safe on his gentle breast. There by his love overshaded, sweetly my soul shall rest.
My inability to join is because of Courage Kudum. Because throughout my entire time in school, we sang "Courage, brother, do not stumble."
Wow.
So I'm thinking that KGM Kojomen Sangabu will have some questions to ask.
So from your favorite Sunday nights in Presec into
Yes.
transitioning, how was the transition like from an arts teacher to a housemaster?
Well, it wasn't a problem because before I became a housemaster, in fact, I didn't even know I had been appointed a housemaster. One day, the headmaster was asking me why I would not go to the house to visit the students. And I said, I go to the houses because naturally, I always wanted to be where the students are. And so I found myself moving around the houses. But because I didn't know I had been appointed a housemaster, I wasn't doing specific work like a housemaster. I wasn't organizing house meetings. I wasn't seeing to students organizing themselves and trying to deal with leadership and all that. But I was going through the houses. And at least the things that I came through as a student with, I was trying to push those things across. I enter a dormitory and then I push a trunk off a chobox and see whether the thing is clean or not. Yes, I was doing all those things, but I didn't know I was a housemaster. Until one day, the headmaster queried me, and I said, "Oh, headmaster, I didn't know." And then it's the same thing that happened with me getting a bungalow. I used to live in Medina, and I'd made a request to get a bungalow on campus. And the thing was posted on staff notice board, but I didn't see it. Yeah, together with Mr. Boy B, sports master. Yes, Mr. Webadu. Yes, because we came together. Yeah, we reported the same day. In fact, we reported the same day with Mr. Amonkote.
Wow.
Yes, so 3 of us came together. Yeah, and so Mr. Apiudu was asking me why I wasn't talking about coming when are you going to move into the bungalow and all that, and I said, "Oh, I didn't know." So I was going there when I met Mr. Boybadu, and he said, "Oh, so you didn't know that you have been given a bungalow?" I said, "I didn't know. I've not been told." When I went, it was pasted on the staff notice board. Then I assumed the office of housemaster. Yes. And then I started doing my work systematically as a housemaster.
Yeah, right.
And
So,
then
so yes, it's 220, 221, right on the dot. Because we are talking about teachers, and Mr. Asamoah himself is a representation of all the teachers who have taught us and impacted into us. I would request that we do a 1 minute silent, give a moment for our dearly departed teachers. I remember that we lost Mr. Dompre. He was my housemaster, house 8. I remember that we also lost T. James, Mr. Tete James. I remember that we call him Buzon. I don't know the name, but he was a French teacher. And I remember that we also lost our dear only female who handled all of us, Mrs. A. Champon. So
one of my favorite teachers myself.
Yes, everyone's favorite teacher. So I'd like to do some 1 minute silence for all these teachers who have passed away and all those that we haven't mentioned. They are so be rested. 1 minute, please. Yes, it's 2:22:30. Well, I am not a reverend. Maybe you will know what to say in these times. but yes, we go on with the interview. Any particular stories or experiences you'd like to share with us?
Stories to share. As a student or as
this statement.
as a president, maybe as a senior housemaster.
Well, as a senior housemaster, let me see. I was excited to receive a phone call from Winneba Hospital one afternoon. The doctor in charge, Dr. Aflakwi, at that time, and he told me that he had got some of my students in his hospital. And he asked me whether we have let some students out of school in a group. And I said no. But I asked him to please get me the names. So he started mentioning the names. And then all the 5 names he mentioned, I told him that no, these were not students of PSEC. But you carefully get closer to them, get their ID cards, and get their proper names, because these names were not real names for us in PSEC. And then he called me later on. And then he started mentioning the names. I said, yes, this one is in PSEC. This one is house 8. This one is in my house. Yes, that's 5 of them. They had gone out of school in the morning. It was the last Saturday before Valentine. Yes. And so it was a pre-Valentine trip. And the intention was go to Gehe and then Holiko. That is Wesley Girls High School. And then Holy Child Secondary School, yeah. And then there were 9 of them. They hired a Benz and a BMW. And I think it was the BMW that crashed around Winneba Junction. So the accident victims were brought to the hospital, and he got excited because he got to know that they were from PSEC. And he had his son here. I think even at that time, no, his son wasn't there. Maybe he was here. I've forgotten. So after I've confirmed the names, then I came to see Mr. Asari. Was it Mr. Asari? Yeah, I think so. And then we had to go and call the parents of the students. So by the time the students were brought to the compound here, we had set up a tribunal center with the long benches from the assembly hall and some chairs from administration. And the place was set up right in front of the administration block, not inside the room, just in the open. So that when they came in from the gate, we just stop them there and then we'll all sit in the fresh air. And that was an exciting day for me.
Well, we'll go to some myths relating to Mr. Lamina.
On that,
Yes.
on that, you know how
Gavu handled that. But even before that, I shared a story on my Facebook wall, and I mean, I mentioned that I have had the opportunity to sit with Mr. Asamoah in numerous disciplinary committee meetings because of my position as an SRC president. And for me, even though he says that he enjoyed that, Mr. Asamoah has always been a fair judge. That I can't say, because all the cases that we looked at and all that, he was very fairly not judgmental about them. He just gave very right judgments. I mean, concern. He's not. I mean, we seem to be the kind of person who would love you to come to DC so that he would expel you. But my experience with him, no, that's not Mr. Asamoah. So Gavu, let's do some myths.
he just confirmed one.
He just confirmed one. That
he knows everybody's
name, everybody's face.
He knows everybody's name. When he walked in, he said, "You, it's been a long time." And yes, of course, we had our personal encounters in Labone House.
That's right. Yes.
Of course, and there was this myth that even when he was asleep, his spirit was still walking around looking for bad boys to deal with.
To add to that, like how he has his tab in front of him, I understand that his computer at home, every evening he's just looking at students' pictures and their names and memorizing them when they come to school freshly.
See, and it's interesting because to think that our batch, we were about 700 when we were finishing. That means that if we even extrapolated, I mean, the school at that time were more than 2,000 students. And it was, you could bet that out of those 2,000, if you mention about 1,800 names, Mr. Asamoah will know.
Yes.
This guy is from Presec. This one is not from Presec.
Not to catch you, to let listeners know that we are being engaged from all sides, somebody just asked me to mention Mr. Jammo. Jamna as part of the list, so we also mentioned Mr. Jamna as part of it. There was an interesting story. There's an interesting, we had to do one of my May 2003 batch. I think he went out and Mr. Asamoah met him. He had a beard, we're restricted to, and then the story went like, Mr. Asamoah called him and asked him to return to school, and he was like, "Where? That story was a very interesting one. Pardon my gun, but it was to outwit Mr. Asamoah, to let Mr. Asamoah know that, hey, you may think you know everybody, but this is not one of your students. Anyway, God, we just continue.
And actually, one of our mates shared as well that when we got to school in 2001, he was assistant class prefect.
That was my class.
Yes.
B1. Yes.
And there was somebody had come in from another class to come and disrupt the class. He quickly went down, met Mr. Asamoah, told Mr. Asamoah what had happened. So once he entered the class with Mr. Asamoah, peace was still. and that is the sort of person you are. You exuded discipline, no matter how bad you are. And to that, I have a very interesting question for you.
Go ahead.
Who are your top 3 baddest boys you ever encountered?
Anyway, I wouldn't mention any names or instigate any. I mean, we had our own squads, the Amaru squads,
but your memory, which maybe 2 or 3 names that really you were tired of hearing about them?
There was this Alaji in Labone House who always was fond of fighting with house captains. He will fight with Labone house captain. Next time you will find him fighting with Reese house captain. Next time you find him fighting with house captain. Alaji, I don't know where he is, but I've been trying to look for him. I've sent messages around for anybody to try to locate him. I haven't got in touch with him yet. He was very, very troublesome. Yes, troublesome. And I was able to handle him by the grace of God, probably because I went to teach at Kimbu before coming to Presec. Because we had a lot of such characters. Fishermen children, to-do boys, Adaraka boys, people who will not go to school. When they will be smoking hemp, when police chases them, then they will jump into my classroom and tell me, Mr. Asamoah, we beg you, the police are chasing us. They won't come into your classroom, but please keep us here. And I kept one or two people like that, but by the time I finished teaching in Kimbo, they had also changed.
Wow.
They were not my students. Yeah, they were not members of the school.
You know,
I was a sports captain. Sorry, teacher in charge of sports. So I was always with my football team, and I was always doing mass gymnastics display with my students. So the to-do boys knew me a lot.
wow.
Yeah, and so when it happened like that, they would jump to me. Yeah, and the way they behaved, I found this boy in Laboni House behaving in similar style.
Wow.
So I said,
You
this
could
guy
handle-
has
you
to
could
be,
handle it.
he had to be tamed.
Gavu,
Not to be destroyed,
Yes.
but to be tamed.
Yes.
He must sit up. He must let Presec pass through him.
Gavu,
So
The
there was
way-
a lot of work done on him.
the way,
Yes.
the way Mr. Asamoah spoke about fighting house captain, I'm sure I'm on his list. Now you see, I'm beginning to think so because during the time when I was an SRC president, you could understand. My greetings to Benden Yasingbe, who by my function as an SRC president fought his house a lot because he was closer to my house. And
That's
anytime
right.
I heard him disturbing the children, I just walked in and disrupted his activity. But I had a particular interesting engagement with Mr. Asamoah. He would not remember because we were at his blind side. Now there was one evening when I was an SOD, I was 8, and I went into that day I was a bit because they were disturbing. So I went in to pick the belt and then do. I never do that. I never did that. So I did that, and then there was Daniel Ankoma who reported me to Mr. Asamoah that evening. Late that evening, I walked to Mr. Asamoah's house and I met him. But surprisingly, Mr. Asamoah didn't say anything. He just looked at me up and down. He asked me why I did it. I explained. He didn't say anything. He asked me to go. But he said that terrified me. It terrified me a lot the entire night. And let me show you what this did to me. It was at the time when we were going for positions in school, and everybody expected my name on the prefectorial list. I was so terrified. I knew that if I go on a prefectorial tangent, Mr. Asamoah would definitely find me in the vetting list and then shock me. So yes, he actually shaped a decision of mine without even knowing that he had shaped a decision of mine. So I peacefully went to the SRC route. That's how powerful Mr. Asamoah is. Mr. Asamoah, let's talk about your name, Pola.
Yeah.
The origin of Pola. Was it in school? How did you come by the name Pola? What was the origin of Pola?
It came from the same source of orientation. During orientation, I'd always say that students are supposed to get conformed to the regulations, and that some students liked or loved running out of school a lot. I said early on that I came to live in Medina before I was brought on campus to come and live here. So I knew every corner in Medina. Apparently, because I was doing door-to-door evangelism and street evangelism before I came. Yeah, so I knew every nook and crook of Medina. I knew where the Bible boys gathered. And because I was a student here myself too, I knew where even prostitutes also gathered. Yes.
Auntie Julie, shout out.
I just go.
Very interesting. Ajusco is a very direct first cousin of mine.
Discovery.
Yes.
Wow.
The very, very, very direct.
Wow.
Yes. In fact, I was telling her daughter the other day that she's my favorite niece among all the nieces that I have.
Wow.
Yes.
That means that she gave Mr. Asamoah a lot of lists.
Boys.
She rather gave me troubles.
Oh.
She never gave me a list. Yes. I knew she was operating certain things. And I was trying to zero in
On what it was.
on what it was. I knew what it was.
Mind me being naive. I think that we attempted to interview her as editorial board people, but mind me, was it true? Was it really true?
Yeah, it was true. Yes, it was true. It was true. Yeah. So what happened was that she was the best kinky seller at Atomic Junction. Yes, and there are a number of people who go and eat her kinky and all that. And of course, people went beyond kinky levels to Ajusco's place. Yeah. And then one day, I remember one day at Atomic Junction, I was going to church. And I didn't use my car. When I got to the place, one of the other ladies, there were about 3 of them who knew me very well. Then she raised an alarm and told the boys, Mr. Asamoah is coming. He's here, he's just here. And the boys started jumping around. I think some of them even jumped on the table that they were having the kinky and the rice. Yes. So somebody stepped at the edge of a kinky bowl, somebody stepped at the edge of the rice bowl, and so the kinky and the rice and the human beings were all tumbling all over the place. Yes. And one of the women was asking me, do you see what you have done? You have spoiled our market.
Wow.
And I asked her, what did I do? Then I asked my cousin who mentioned my name, that I was coming. And then they told me that it was this lady who did. And I said, hold her for the loss of this business tonight. As for the boys, I'll get them back in school.
Well, at this point, I'd like to shout out to Mango. Forgive me if I mentioned your name at the wrong time because you are talking about Jew school. But this is the time that your name came to mind. I don't know what triggered a Mango, but forgive me. So back to Polar, right? Back to
Where
Polar.
you're talking about nicknames, yes. So I'll tell the Form 1 students, look, when you run out of school, if you go through the air, I'll catch you up there. If you go on land, I'll grab you. If you get into water, I will catch you in the water like polar bear catches fish. And it was a regular talk. Yes, it was a very regular talk. When I was a student, my nickname was Elephant. In fact, when I came first, I was Jumbo the Elephant. Then it became Jumbo Jets.
Okay.
There were varieties of it. And then later on, it became Baby Jumbo because I was slimming. Yeah. So when I came to teach, it changed. In fact, the first nickname I had, which was made popular from Engman House students, was Bad Jesus. Yeah.
Jesus.
Because when I started teaching here, I'll come to morning assembly and take a Bible and preach. As soon as I finish preaching, I go put my Bible down, then I'll take a cane. And my cane had no limits. It would be everywhere, anywhere. In the dining hall, at church service, I'll not hold a cane. But when we come out of the assembly hall, then I'll pick a cane. And when I have an encounter with you and I pick a cane, once I pick it, it will go into action. If I don't pick it, that's a different story. Then it will mean that I'm doing some considerations. But once I pick it up, it has to go to work. And according to GES rules, we're not supposed to lash students. If it had to be, it must be done in the headmaster's office. Yeah. I knew these rules long before I started even teaching at Kimbu. And in Kimbu, I was popular because of caning. And here is Kimbu. Behind the school was a district education office. Yes. Education office, and then they will sometimes come and lean against the wall and ask, what is happening on the compound? And then somebody will shout. There was one person who will see me will shout, it's Asamoah and his boys. If it's Asamoah and his boys, leave them alone.
Well, I think that Kojo will take this in the next segment. But
So
Kojo,
that's how come Bad Jesus and later on it changed to Polar.
let me just mention a few names because if you are here in a studio and if you are doing radio, we'd like to mention our media contemporaries like Lexus Bill, Kwame Sechiama. You like to mention Bernard Avle. You like to mention Nyama Dagadu. You also like to mention George Ado. And you also like to mention people like Gary Al Smith. Yes, they have made us proud in the media space, and we are taking their seats today by interviewing. Yes. I know they would love to do this, but please give us the opportunity to do so. So yes,
they should allow us the amateurs.
Yes, go
to also enjoy the seat.
Yes,
so I have this question: raising girls in a boys' school.
Not just raising, but borning them in the boys' school.
This one, he loved to. Peter loved to this. He loved wholeheartedly to this one.
How was it?
Yeah, I said early on that I came to Presec in 1982. Yes, and I was given a bungalow in 1983. In fact, I was waiting to receive my bungalow before I could get into marriage. But by the grace of God, and by the help of some of the students who were here then, in 1982-83, who helped me carry chairs and things like that around. Yes, I got married on the 17th of December 1983, by the grace of God, when Ghana was very hungry.
Yes.
Yes, when Ghana was very hungry. I remember my father telling me that I should wait till Easter time because Ghana will be better. And I said, no. I said in my heart that my father is not a prophet. Number one. Number two, the fact that I prayed and God had given me the go ahead. Because of that, I will not look back. So 1983, we got married. Yes. Very, very fresh on Presec campus. Yes. And then our first girl came in 1985.
Okay.
Yeah, second followed in 87. And then the others followed. 5 girls by the end of the day. And then they were all brought forth and raised up in Presec. Yeah. No wonder they give them the name Polarites.
So, Mr. Asamoah, let's talk about your first girl.
Okay.
85. 85 rings a bell around our ages.
Yeah, okay.
So that means that in school, our boys would have been trying certain things. She would have had some friends.
Okay.
Were there some friends you remember? I mean, our contemporaries, our age mates. Wasn't some friends you remember?
Oh, yeah. In fact, my first girl always liked to be like me. When students came to the house, she wanted to show tough. Yeah,
Like that.
and she want to give instructions to them, like Daddy does give instructions to students. Because she realized that I had so much authority around, and she felt like she should bask in it. Yeah. Somebody even made a comment that it looks like my girls are too confident for their liking. And I said, well, that's by the grace of God. I didn't do any specific technique to, bring them up that way. But they found themselves growing that way. They followed Daddy, simply. Yeah. Well, she made some friends around, especially where they were the pioneers of St. Andrews and all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you the story of St. Andrews very soon, how it all started. Yeah. It started because of my first 2 girls.
Wow.
Yeah. So my children had friends and mates around, and once a while some of them would want to come home, and they wouldn't go straight to the point. They like to roll around. Some of them will organize genius to come and weed around the house.
Wow.
Others will come and find out whether they can get water to drink. Some people will use my mango tree.
Shout out
My
to mangoes.
Yes. Yeah, some of them will want to come for mangoes, yes, and all that. And then while they were collecting mangoes, they were looking around. While students were working around, they would be looking around. And of course, I'll always ask my girls to get them water to drink. Sure. Get them some water to drink, yes. Yeah, and I did that deliberately because I wouldn't want to separate my children from boys. We are social beings, and they must grow fully in their environment, even though we are in a boys' school. Yeah, and that is so. I had a girls' school in my house, and I was handling the boys' school around. Yeah, that's how it happened. Yeah,
I understand. Flooded messages coming in through our numbers.
Wow.
We actually leave in 15 minutes for that. It's 2:43, and we have like 2 minutes to approach that time, and then we would have these questions asked directly to Mr. Asamoah, Reverend Asamoah. So, Reverend Asamoah, did you ever see Peter in your house?
Yeah, Peter was always in my house because Peter's father attended GIJ with me. Okay. There was a time I got angry with Presec and I wanted to run away. I think somebody asked me a question, how come I stayed in Presec for so long? Yeah, I wanted to leave Presec, so I decided to go to school. So after finishing my job at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, then I would go to GIJ, where I was doing a course there. It was an evening school, so from 4 to 8 p.m. I'd go there and then go and undertake my PR course over there. Yeah. And then Peter's father was my mate in GIJ. When I got very close to him, later on I discovered that Peter's mother was my wife's classmate.
Wow. Small world.
So Peter became a family member. Yes. Yes. So Peter became my family member. Yes. Small world. Small world.
Peter, we organize a traditional marriage for you. So yes, we'll be asking a lot of questions from from external, from WhatsApp, from Facebook, from everywhere we can pick up the questions from, and Mr. Asamoah will be glad to answer. So if you have the questions, we can bring up the questions.
There are actually some questions from the Zoom as well. This is from Peter. Sorry, from Prince. He's saying that what will you do differently as if you get the opportunity to come back to Presec as a teacher? This is Dakro, Prince Kumi.
Well, if I look at the reason why I came to teach in Presec, with a heart to raise our future leaders who are responsible, having professional careers, and having the fear of God, I don't think I want to do anything different from that. Yeah. I don't think I want to do anything different from that. Because the reason why I came, I saw results. In fact, I'm seeing results. Yeah, so they say that when you are getting results, a certain kind of results from what you are doing regularly, and you don't like the results, then you change the method.
Yeah.
But because I like the results, I don't think I will change my method. Maybe I will increase it, to maybe a more modern method, because now we are using AI, and one of my fellow O teachers says that he's using UI. Yes. Ununderstandable intelligent systems.
well, Mr. Asamoah, we wouldn't want you to have AI. If you had the algorithm, you would destroy everything. So Theophilus Baja, our 2003 president, is a great time with the legend in Christian training and education. And for me, we can easily say Mr. Asamoah is a legend in our circles. We can easily say that. So we have Odadee Zonda 1981. Very, very interesting program. Mr. Asamoah, such a role model. Dish out the Presbyterian training very, very well. He said, dish out. Well done to the students who are in the studio. We should be bringing in more teachers.
Yes. That's good. Yes, that's good. Yes.
And Mr. Asamoah, I know we are looking at time, but if you could tell us the St. Andrew story, briefly.
Maybe we have to overshoot the time.
All right. We got some small overshoots. Some small overshoots. Yes, we continue.
St. Andrews. My children, when I came to Presec, when the children started growing up, and then I was looking for a good school, well, we had a lot of preschools around. Yes, but when they started growing and were getting to P1, I looked around and I realized that there was no suitable school. And that's my choice of school around in this area. And all our staff members were having their children at the university primary, the Achimota preparatory, Achimota primary, and all that. Yes, my eyes were fixed on a school far away, and I said, no, I don't want to go there. It was a friend's sister school that was started in Cantonment, and they had moved to Jowulu. And I said, Jowulu is too far for me. But when I made several attempts and I couldn't get my children into these schools, I decided that, okay, let me go to Jowulu. No, is it Abelinkpe? Abelinkpe, rather. There is a Golden Age. Yes, exactly.
My auntie used to teach in that school.
Oh, okay. Yes, I saw the beginning of Golden Age. It started in Cantonment. So I took them to Golden Age, and then the headmaster kindly allowed the school bus, which was dropping the staff children in Achimota, Legon, near schools, to also extend a little more to Golden Age with my two girls. And these two girls were okay with the school. But my problem was that when they get to Achimota, it means that they had to cross N1. At that time, it was a single road. And the school bus once got stuck in the Achimota forest after dropping everyone apart from my children. So he couldn't cross over to Abelinkwe. And the school driver was going to look for a mechanic to come and handle the problem. And his partner, the mate, who was on the bus, I felt could have crossed the main road with my daughters, just across the road, and they could make their way to the school. But he left them on the bus in the Achimota forest and came all the way back to Presec when I was teaching to come and tell me that the bus was spoiled in the Achimota forest and my girls were on the bus.
He's definitely not a Presec.
he should have had some Presec blood. He had been here for long. Yes. So I went straight to the headmaster from my classroom. I told my head of department first. Then went to headmaster, Mr. Koko, and then told him that this is the situation. I need to go and get my girls from the bus. So I went all the way to Asamoah Forest, got my children, and we crossed the street. We walked across the street, and then I dropped them in school and explained to the teachers why they were late. Then came back. When I came back, I went straight to headmaster's office, and I said, Headmaster, I believe that this problem that I have gone through means that it is time for us to have our own school for our children on Presec compound. Then he asked me, so how do we do it? I said that, we'll get the ball rolling. I'll ask other members of staff if they are interested. So I asked other members of staff, they were interested. Then at the board meeting, the headmaster asked me to present a case to the board. So I wrote a message to the board. And then I remember our old SP, or our permanent SP, okay, that is Right Honorable Okwe was on the school board at the time, together with the lawyer of Presby Church. And on the board, I was then representing staff on the board. So I wrote a brief letter and presented it to them. And they made the first donations. Wow. Yes, they made the first donations of 10, it was those days 10,000, so 10,000 CDs each. We came back to see around, got a small committee to see how we can get this thing going. So Mrs. Monica Sanchi, Mr. Diobo, and some late Reverend Ano and others, physics teacher, and others were put on the board. And then we started getting across what had to be done. Then we interviewed some teachers that were brought, so that we decided that we had to interview teachers to handle our children, because we wanted a certain quality. So that is how it started. That's how we started Presec staff schools. Yes. And then later on, it grew into St. Andrews. Let me tell you how comes St. Andrews. God bless the late Mr. Apiedu, wherever he is. He went to the ministries, and then there was a law. I don't know whether the law was before he got there or because Presec was coming with a request. Yes, but we read into it and we said because Presec was coming with a request. This school from the bush that has come to the city and has knocked off every other school is now looking for a JHS on the same compound. No, we can't agree. That was from the ministries. Then they said that we cannot have, then immediately they said that we cannot have a secondary school with a JHS school on the same compound. Then he immediately responded that this one is not on the same compound. They are behind Presec. And that they are not, the name will not be Presec JHS. But we have only one saint in the Presby Church, that is St. Andrews. And that is the name we put on the school. Wow. So right there, without writing, without thinking, without pre thoughts about it, Mr. Apiedu just said that this is St. Andrews JHS and not Presec JHS. Wow. And so it was agreed upon. And then we went on.
We really wanted to ask you a question about what you had contributed to, physically, but I mean, we have our answers already. Peter would like to ask a question, but before that, because you mentioned the Honorable Speaker Okwe, I also like us to celebrate those in government and those in Parliament and all that. So I'd like to mention Honorable Okujeto, who is doing very well in Parliament. I also like to mention Dr. Okuboy, who was former Minister of Health and all that. They are doing very well. We need such people in Parliament because
congratulations, Okuboy. I learned that you just won the primaries.
Wow.
Yes. God bless you.
Happy studios are we are trying to contribute to the nation, and that's wherever we are, we find ourselves as a shining light. Yes, Peter.
That's right.
Actually, just a few of the business. A very famous thing that I know about Mr. Asamoah. First of all, he didn't need a microphone when he was talking.
Never.
It was the words were not so clear when you use the microphone. Because it was rather very powerful. Besides that, some very three famous words I always remember about him. He said first of all, some of you do not have cheats, and yet you are cheating in the hall. Wow. Some of you go and cause trouble with your white shirts elsewhere and show off with your blue shirts somewhere else. And then somewhere else. And then finally he said, a lot of you make noise in the dormitories, and even when you don't make noise, you absorb noise. You wear the earphones, absorbing them.
These were very wise sayings. I don't like to use the words unwise, but we had some very popular sayings from our own students, such as arrange it round like a triangle. Anyway, Charles Seto wants to ask that, do you remember the armed robbers who came around at the houses to ask us to get our cutlasses and chase them? You asked us to get our cutlasses and chase them. Do you remember?
Well, it was like the picture came up as if I gave instructions that the students would chase them.
That means you remember?
I remember, yes, I remember. Yeah, I remember. They came around harassing students, and they were harassing students who were coming to school through the narrow entrances. Okay. Yes. And then this time they decided to enter the campus.
Wow.
So we had to find a way of saying, no, you can't come here. So I found a way of telling students, well, we cannot stay in our homes and allow thieves to come and harass us. They must go behind their borders. Yeah. So in a way, the students decided that, okay, let's chase them out. So we all took strategies in our corners and took them out.
What do you make of Achichi? You know Achichi?
Achichi was very dangerous. In fact, wow.
Asamoah was nice.
I lost Philip Otu through Achichi.
Wow.
Then I lost this other boy. Okay, in his case, I'll tell a story. Philip Otu came to do Achichi right here on the compound. And then he missed his controls. And then the car spun, hit the gutter behind the staff common room, and then all 4 ties were up and he was inside down. Yes. And later on I got to know that those things that he went through, I mean the trauma and the impact was the thing that gave him some sickness. Okay. And then he went off later on. Yeah. I've forgotten this boy's name. There's another incident. I was in my house when a taxi driver came on a Saturday afternoon. In fact, it was just before noon. And she came to me and told me that some vehicles have had an accident on the IPS road, and that it looks like they were pre-sec students. One of them had been, the head had split into 2. Jeez. And the police had been called. But because she heard that they were students, she decided to come and look for senior housemaster and bring the report. So quickly, I called Mr. Asari and gave him the information. I told him that I'm going straight to the spot. It happened on a school farm. When they were constructing the IPS road, there were heaps of sand and stones along the side of the road. This boy, it was a midterm, had gone home and was sent by the grandmother to go and pick children from. He lived in Adenta. Had gone to, he was supposed to pick children, his little children from a UPSA area, Atraco area. Then he came into the school to come and pick up a cousin. He was in Form 2, the cousin was in Form 3, getting ready to write exams. And he was washing around the school clinic. And in his school, in his house dresses, yellow panties and yellow t-shirts, he joined this boy, and then they flashed out of school. In fact, I saw the car pass on my street. Then I made a comment, and my wife remembers this one very well. I just said, which foolish boy is running so fast on our streets here? It was because of them I created the ramps on our road at the other side, yes. Yeah. So, as soon as he passed, not more than 5 minutes later, this woman came to my house with this report. I just told myself, I hope it's not the same boy. But when I got there, the police had come to collect cordon of the area, and I told them that I'm a senior housemaster from the school. Then they asked me to go in and see if I could identify. I couldn't identify the one who had the car. Apparently, in the speed, the car climbed, it went off one of the heaps of sand and flew in the air and somersaulted mid-air. And this boy, who was the co-passenger, attempted to get out of the car. Yeah, he attempted to get out of the car. And he came crashing down, and a portion of the car hit him. So his head was split into 2, and his brain matter came out. In fact, when the police even picked him away, later on with the ambulance, they left the brain matter there. It was later on, they sent somebody else to come and collect. Yeah.
I asked this question because I know how particular you are about that, because I've seen you
Achichin.
actually rushing from your house just to stop these things from happening.
I've actually crashed somebody's windscreen.
Yes. I think I
But
saw
that one was during vacation classes period. Yes, and isn't it that it was a Presec boy?
It's interesting to hear these things because I remember back we were here from 91 to 93. Africa was very popular and we all enjoyed it.
Yes.
But it's good to hear this side of the story, too, because
That's
to
right.
us as students,
It was fun.
I mean, it was wonderful fun.
And good competition.
good competition. Yeah, with the cat. Mr. Asamoah, I've been looking at this question over 5 to 10 minutes, and I've been asking myself. I've been trying to construe the question. Now we have a question from Prince Kumi. This is what I've been asking myself. So, Mr. Asamoah is one of the few teachers that my mother remembers. Emphasis on that my mother remembers. This is a confirmation of how resourceful he was to me and my family. God bless you. He's talking about teachers, but I know Prince Kumi wasn't taught by Mr. Asamoah. So you are talking about your mother. Remember, Prince Kumi, careful. So yes, Prince Kumi actually says that yes, the mother remembers you, and it's when parents remember you and mention your names at home, that means that you've extended your discipline, you've extended your virtuousness, you've extended everything beyond the school, even into our homes, and that's how he remembers you. So
thank you very much for not forgetting me, and tell Mama I love her for that. Yes, I had a lot of interaction with parents. Yeah, positive and negative rounds. Yes, there were parents who came with the intention of coming to attack because I had dealt with their sons. Yeah, and my concluding of the matter is, Mommy or Daddy, I have your son with me for only 2.5 years. Whatever comes out of him after I've dealt with him is yours for the rest of your life. Yes. And this is what I used to tell parents.
The mention of 2.5 years actually means that Mr. Asamoah really remembers our batch, because we were the first to start with 2.5 years. So
well, even though we mentioned 3 years, we hardly had students coming through for 3 years.
Okay.
Yes, we hardly did. Yeah. Okay. In fact, my first girl, so you were contemporaries. Yeah. That means that you changed 1 year, you did only 2 terms.
Yes.
And then you're promoted. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So I'll tell you something about time. Mr. Asamoah said something about time. But Before I do that, I would like to say, Odadee Zonda 1981 says, "Thank you, Rev, for your dedication and service to our great school. On behalf of Odadee Radio, we also want to say thank you for being part of and hosting our educational program, The Standpoint."
Thank you very much, Zonda, wherever you are. God bless you. And thank you for locking me up with his Standpoint.
So, Raymond Ajete Pola. Pola is a good man. He made my stay in Presec a great one. We thank him for how he helped shape our lives. God bless him. I'm glad these statements are coming out, because I was thinking that when we started this whole thing, people were saying that, and then Pola slaps students. I was expecting some of them to pass through, but you see, if you're a good man, I mean, you carry yourself, in that direction, and I think that he has. So time,
yes, and the thing with discipline is that when you are young,
you see it to be.
You see it to be. You see it to be a bad thing.
You don't understand it. Yes.
But then when you grow, like we have, you begin to appreciate what those seeds were, and how they have changed us and impacted us into who we are. Right. Just wanted to ask one last thing on vices and on virtues. Atuale night.
Atuale, yes.
Okay.
Not just Atuale, and that thing, Homo night.
And the Homo's night. Were they things that you wish didn't exist? Or were they traditions that you think make us Presec?
Homo's night was good as I came to meet it as a student. But later on, the extremes became wickedness along the line. Yes. I don't know how it happened. Of course, one of the thing that sparked me off into disciplinary action was when I came to Presec one day in November 1982. And I came to the dining hall. I had left Presec in 1974. Then I came back in 82 and realized that the discipline in the school was so low. I mean, students would not comport themselves with the simplest regulations. So one day, I came to the dining hall. I was a dining hall master then. Then I just decided that let me give this announcement. Students, I was a student like you. when I was here, we had set of discipline measures, and every student was working and walking in the discipline. But I realized that these things had broken down. May I appeal to you students, that we all comport ourselves, and henceforth, once I'm teacher on duty for this week, let us all live according to the rules and regulations of the school. Then the students hooted at me. Say, oh. Yes. Boys always, yes. So they hooted at me, and then they started, everybody was shouting, you do rush. Sorry. And you can imagine the voices like the waves of the sea shouting you the rush to one single man standing in this loaded dining hall. And I didn't know what it was, because when we were here, the terminology wasn't here. So I decided to also react. So what I did was to hold one student's shirt, in his blue shirt, and then I lifted him up and put him on the dining hall for bench. And then I asked him, what are the students saying? In fact, these students started shivering. And then he also had to give me an answer. They said, you did rush. He was shivering and saying it. I said, so what does it mean? He said, because of the announcement I made. I said, oh, is that so? So I lifted him back one hand and put him down gently. I said, oh, so this small instruction that I've given, you tell me I'm rushing. Then I made it louder. From today, we will see who will rush in this school. And that is the day I sparked off. Okay. So, and then everybody started rushing, because it was then that I decided that if I don't put in my maximum, I will spoil the thing. Yes. Along the line, I got to know why the discipline had broken down just suddenly like that. Some guys were brought into the sixth form from other schools, and they were not taken because of their misbehaviors, and then they were brought to PRESEC, and oh my God, they came to break down the system. Yes. But it had to be corrected in a way. That is how I sparked off. Yes.
So about time. I know I am an archetype A person, and Dr. Daniel Cherko Opolacha, who is now a professor in the UK, would always say that I don't have patience and all that, but I abide by time. I abide by time because of Mr. Asamoah. Because Mr. Asamoah actually put time in a context that I haven't heard before. I don't know if he remembers. He came to assembly one day and then said that he calculated the time that students spend in school. He calculated time that students sleep, groundswork, time that students go to prep and all that, and actually give us the exact time that we have available for studies. And the fact that we should utilize it well to be able to make it out. I still remember that. And I'm telling you this day that, because my father is military or anything, it's Mr. Asamoah who actually inculcated that into me. So I don't play with time. Like today I got here and I told you that time and all that. So when it comes to time, say thank you very, very much. So from ABK, he says, the only person who will punish you and explain to you why he's punishing you. Mr. Asamoah, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah. And also from Charles Seto, there's one rule: be where everybody is.
All the time.
That is the only school rule.
Be where everybody is all the time. Yes. Yeah. Anytime I did that time management thing, I did it normally for SU leaders and then for prefects leaders too. Yeah. Yes. And my conclusion always was, give to each flying minute something to keep in store by way of learning. Give to each flying minute something to keep in store. Somebody who left here in 1987 quoted this back to me about 2 years ago. Yes. I remember that. And I was very happy that he kept it. Yes. He said that is what held him when he was in tech. Yes. And I'm happy that it went down well.
Reverend, we have a lot of things going in PRESEC. Now, National Science and Maths is what is going in for us. Yeah. We also used to have the drama club that did very well across the nation. We also had the debaters club that did very well. Let's isolate these things and then ask you, in your view, what makes PRESEC great?
What makes PRESEC great is the fact that discipline is instilled into the student right from the word go. And if it's carried across throughout the time throughout the time that you are in school, if this thing is maintained, then, as I said early on, if you are doing something and you are getting results, you don't change. You don't change your winning team. Let it go on, and then we will get it. So in PreSec, once there are people inside the system who are trying to, I'm talking about teachers and administrators who are trying to let the thing go as they heard and as they saw, it means that this is what is bringing up the good thing in PreSec. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And we have to maintain it.
Thank you so if you've joined us, you're either listening to us on Zeno FM radio app, zeno.fm/Odadee radio, or the Odadee radio app itself. You can download it on Google Play or Apple Store, or you are doing Facebook live stream, Odadee radio Ghana, or you are doing Instagram and Twitter at Odadee radio, or you are sending in your questions, WhatsApp and SMS 02000 92925 02000 or you have a studio phone number 0302 551014. I hear that a lot of students, or should I still call you students, or a lot of our mates and contemporaries are on Zoom trying to get our attention. So if the studio technicians can take us to Zoom, we'll be glad to have them. Yeah.
So they can unmute.
Okay, so if you are listening on Zoom, you can now unmute and then we'll hear you. But please, one at a time on Zoom, please. So Kojo Mensah Gavu will be administrating that.
Yes.
So he will take the questions one after the other. Thank you very much. So Zoom.
Oh wow, that's
That's Prince Kumi. That is Dakro. He says that his mother fondly remembers.
That's right. Yes. Interesting.
Yeah, so you can now speak. Kojo.
Yes, I think you can unmute and speak, Prince. Raymond has also turned his.
Raymond is there. Raymond, you can now unmute and then speak to us, Raymond. Ask for Prince, forgive him. Prince is not technically savvy. One of the only Odadees that I see, Charlie, when it comes to technology has it all wrong. He likes the traditional approach. Prince could be my mate. I agree with you.
You need to catch up.
When Mr. Asamoah is talking about AI and all that, you are still...
he's still in UI.
Yes, if you have Raymond coming up. If not, then we'll pick up more questions from WhatsApp, or we'd like to open the lines for you to call in so that we can hear your voice. So we know that we are not in the studio alone. I think one of the things, I asked Lexis, Bill, and the rest, one of the things that becomes very strange for people in studio sometimes, that you would think that you are talking to yourself until the phone lines come in and they start hearing voices from outside. So yes, Kojo, is there anybody on Zoom? They're not on mute. I understand why. And please, when we started this conversation, Paula said that we are now all, Odadee. I know you are afraid. But please unmute. Let's hear your voice.
The fear is real.
Courage, brother. Do not stumble.
that shall not be caught.
Yeah, that's the 11th commandment.
So they say they are following.
Okay. All right. That's fine. So Kojo,
I think we should be wrapping up.
But there's one thing. There's a gap between Mr. Asamoah leaving PreSec and coming back to PreSec. What I know, his parents were in the education ministry and all that. But what made you stay?
Well, what made me stay in PreSec? First, let me talk about how I came in. When I came back to teach, I had spoken to my department people. I didn't know them before I came. When I left, all my people left, so I came to meet them as new people, and I told them I was interested in coming back to teach in PreSec. So I came to do first teaching practice from Winneba, for 4 weeks. And then I got excited all the more. Then I came to the office of assistant head. First headmaster. And headmaster said that there was no space for me in PreSec. And I said, I have to come back to PreSec to teach. I have to come back and teach. And Mr. Etuafere was like, hey, who is this guy? And then he told me to go away. So I left his office, and then I went to the assistant headmistress, Mrs. Jackson. Mrs. Jackson clocked 85 years yesterday, also 3 days ago. Yes.
Very senior.
Yes, very senior. Yeah. In fact, she invigilated me when I was writing commentaries in the assembly hall of Every Girls.
Why not?
Where else?
Yes. So I came to her office, and then she taught me history in Presec when I was a student. And when I came to her office, she told me that I should go and come. Then she called the head of the department, Mr. F.D.K. Asare, and asked whether they don't need another teacher. There were 2 teachers there already. So Mr. Asare and Mrs. Jackson decided that they want to break down the visual art subjects into portions. Because initially it was just art and craft. And we didn't even do much theory in those days. Yes, so they broke the thing down into theory and then 6 different areas. That meant that they created more space on a timetable. Then they presented it to the headmaster. And the headmaster said, "Oh, are you sure that the two teachers cannot handle this?" Then they did. And they said, "No, they needed a 3rd person. Mr. Asamoah was a student here too, so he has to come and help us." So that is how Mrs. Jackson created an extra space on the timetable for me. And then when I came, I was taken in. When I came in with the same heart that I was coming to look forward to raising our future leaders and responsible people who have the fear of God with good career profession. And then it happened that, I started work. It was around the same time that I went to the dining hall and I was booed at. I had changed my style and I was working alone. One thing about me that I didn't need a team to work with when it came to set things. I felt like this is the way I have to go and have to go. In fact, a lot of teachers told me to slow down. And I said, well, until I get what I wanted, no slow down. And so I'll move day and night. And that is the reason why sometimes you find me in the classrooms when I'm not teaching. Yes, and classes that I don't even teach, I'll enter into the place, just walk inside quietly, say hello to the teacher, and then walk away. And then I'll do that same thing in houses. Laboni house at a point became too small for me, and then I started extending to other houses. I remember some nights I would go to other houses, trying to check the students, and then they would shout from the dark, "Mr. Asamoah, go to your house. Laboni house is waiting for you."
Well,
So with this kind of thing, I started seeing good results from students. And because I was seeing results, I couldn't stop. And if I couldn't stop, then I had to stay on and keep going. This is the reason why I kept myself in Presec for all the time. Yes. I realized that, well, it will not be easy for me to leave. If I leave, who will take my place? Meanwhile, I knew that the job is not only for one man. Everybody has to put their hands to it, and we have to get a team. Yes. But I kept going anyway. And because I was seeing results, that's the reason why I kept going. I was seeing results from my lessons. I was getting a lot of students getting my A's in my subject areas. I was seeing the 6 formers. Later when SS came, I saw a lot of A's. In fact, I think I gave the headmaster a shock with the first batch and the work that we presented. They didn't expect it at all, but we went in there and got a lot of students getting into tech and all that. So because of the results I was seeing, I had to stay on. I said early on that I got angry at a point and I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, somebody went to tell stories about me to headmaster. Headmaster was taking certain lines. So my name was removed from the list of housemasters at a point. Yeah. That was my saddest day in Presec. So it means that all the good work I was doing, nobody was seeing. Headmaster had to go. He came back one day and asked me, why am I disturbing him? And I said, how am I disturbing you? He said, wherever he went to outside the school, funerals, weddings, weekend, parents were harassing him. Why have you removed Mr. Asamoah from a timetable? Don't you see he's the one who's taking care of our boys and all that? Yes. And so finally, he came back and told me that I've been reinstated. Wow. And so we had to go on.
we just had testimony. We just had one of our mates walk into the studio. In boys' school, you don't usually hear of how do you call it? Father. that thing, mother in school, father
Yes,
in school,
yes.
father.
School father in school.
I had a school father who was my
Who was your mate?
See, I had a school father, and that's Roland Ross. He was one of the groundswork prefects in our time. Roland Ross, you are very much welcome to the studio. So, and wrapping up, we'll just take final words from Mr. Asamoah. But before I do, I'd like to thank the ОDADEɛ radio team. I'd like to thank the global office. I also like to thank the ОDADEɛ 2003 batch led by Theophilus Badger, Pastor Theophilus Badger. We'll take some final words. But all we are pleading with, all we are extending to the ΟDADEɛ global team and the ΟDADEɛ office is that there's a lovely program. I'd like to see more teachers come through. If you can support such a program, we would be here to also volunteer our time and our effort in interviewing them. I know that my brother Kwame Secham Alexis Bill would also be here to do same, and all the others. So Mr. Asamoah, we'll take your final message, advice, and your final message to everybody, including students and including all the ones who have passed out. And after that, we will sing the school anthem and wrap this up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. Well, my last words to everybody, first, fear God. This is the whole duty of man. Fear God. And be very responsible. You have been raised up as a responsible person. Practice it or practicalize it. Be faithful in dealing with issues around you. Be faithful to your family. Love your family. Be faithful to your business and your job. Don't let it be heard of you saying that this job belongs to somebody else, so let me take it easy. No, be faithful and love to do what you have to do. Keep your schoolmates also. Don't throw away friends, because friends are the people you are going to hang on with for the rest of your lives. The friends that you made at SS are going to be your lifelong friends. Don't forget. Yes. And never put away things of God. Find something to do for God in your church, wherever you are. If you don't go to church, find something to do for God in your community. By all means, there's something to do for somebody. God bless you all, and thank you very, very much. 93 guys, thank you very, very much for bringing me here.
2003.
2003 rather. Here, 2003.
You look old.
Even the gray hair.
2003, yes.
Because
God bless you so much.
As you wrap up, can you tell us a bit about what you think that makes Presec great?
Well, I said it's always been a discipline. Yes, it's always been a discipline. The reason why I kept doing what I was doing in the way of discipline is because I knew that when there's discipline, the people who are undergoing the discipline will thrive wherever you are, and that is why we excel wherever we are. It has to do with the discipline. Yes, it has to do with the discipline. So let's keep it burning. Let's keep it flying. Let us keep the fire burning, and in the lights we shall see lights.
Well, this program was brought to you by the ΟDADEɛ 2003 batch led by Pastor Theophilus Badger, led by Pastor Theophilus. We did this in collaboration with the ΟDADEɛ radio, who are keeping the lights alive by broadcasting very good content to all of us. Now, I talk about 2003. We are celebrating our 20th anniversary, and this is one of the highlights that we had on our programs to interview Mr. Asamoah. But he mentioned some notable dates that I'd like to go back to. He said 1955 and 1956. That means that Mr. Asamoah, being born in these years, foreshadowed the independence of Ghana.
Exactly.
And then he also mentioned 1983, which sadly foreshadows the famine period in Ghana.
Exactly.
So yes. So if you'd like us to do this again, let's link up. Please talk to us. Let's put ourselves together. Let's invite other teachers. Let's have this done so that we can have a rounded, history of Presec. So we'll listen to the school anthem. We'll all sing it together once we present a cake to Mr. Asamoah, and then we would come to the conclusion of this program by donating something small to Mr. Asamoah in honor of his good work. Thank you very much. So school anthem, please, if we shall stand. If you don't know how to sing and your voice is not good, please don't join us. You know the cue. When do we start? Happy are we, studious are we, students of Presbyterian Secondary School. On we march, we trudge along to happy victory. To victory, to victory. Our motto is a solid bulwark propping us along. Illuminate, with the beam of lumen. In the light, we shall see light. Illuminate, with the beam of lumen. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation
to take our places in the future of our country and check. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us. Happy studios away.
So as DJ continues to play the song, we would now cut a cake. President Theophilus Baja, please come to the center. Gabu, please join Mr. Asamoah as we cut this cake. Yeah, Peter, please join him. It would have been good to have some females to join him, but we are an all-boys school.
Wow. Boys school knife.
So the inscription of the cake is God bless Pola Presec.
Wow.
God bless Pola Presec. So please, we are cutting a cake with Mr. Asamoah, Reverend Asamoah.
So we do the Christian, we do this in the name of
Yes, you are the pastor.
So we do this in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. We say long life and peace to our own Reverend Ambrose
Emmanuel Ambrose
Asamoah.
Amen.
God bless you.
If you give us a chance, you preach. So let me remind you, for those who don't know, it's AKA Pola. It's also AKA Bad Jesus, and the last one
AKA
is
Elephant.
LKA Elephant, Jumbo Elephant. So we also have a penciled portrait. It's a very nice penciled portrait of Mr. Asamoah, done by one of his own visual art students. So it means this is to tell us that he trains students to do great stuff, and this is a manifestation of it. So we are bringing in a pencil portrait, 2 pencil portraits.
Actually done by a current student.
The current student,
visual
yeah.
student in
Oh,
the
okay.
and was
Current, yes.
mentored by, I don't know if you remember, Abednego Abiashi Abi.
Yes. I remember.
So that's him.
So that's the student. That's the student who did the portraits. Nice,
Oh, okay.
nice.
Let's present the first one.
Wow.
So we stole 2 of your pictures, and we did this for you. So
Thank you very, very, very much. Oh wow.
Reverend Asamoah,
That's
this is for you.
On behalf of
That's
2003,
On behalf of 2003 year group,
we present
this is for you. Mike Egan did this art,
Yes.
and then you
Mike
can see his
Egan.
name on it, Mike
Mike
Egan.
Egan.
Please join us, Mike Egan.
Real
Yes.
officer,
He has said about him.
Yeah, legend.
Thank you very, very, very much.
Yes.
God bless you so much. Yes.
So, Mr. Asamoah, we are not done.
Hey.
There's also a citation for you.
Wow.
There's also a citation for you, and I would like to be the one to read this citation. So, citation of appreciation in honor of Mr. Emmanuel Ambrose Asamoah. From student to teacher, housemaster, and senior housemaster, you clearly distinguish yourself as a true Odadea. Your well-recognizable alias, Pola, aptly represents both your physical stature and monumental achievements in the annals of our great school. Particularly, you shaped the life of many students morally, spiritually, intellectually, and you continue to do so through the airwaves. Whenever the rich history of Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Presbyterian Boys High School, Secondary School, Presec Legon is being recalled, you would undoubtedly occupy your prominent place in it. We love you. God bless you. Congratulations. Keep the fire burning. So here you are, sir.
Thank you.
Kojo Mensah
Thank you.
Gabu
Thank you
would
very,
present
very
that.
much.
We also have a
Thank you.
hamper.
Asamoah, please stand aside.
Okay.
Today we are bringing in.
God bless you so much.
Yes, we also have a
Yeah.
hamper for. So if you are joining us, the 2003 badge, we thank you for your contributions, because your contributions made this possible. Whenever we call upon you, you are quick, to respond to. I know these are difficult times, but we love the zeal, we love the participation, we love the engagement. Thank you very much to 2003 badge. We love you also. This is a hamper foreshadowing the Christmas from the 2003 badge. Please, we would have loved your wife to be here, but please hand this over to your wife. And she'll do magic with this.
Thank you.
She'll do magic with this. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you.
very, very, very much.
Thank you.
God bless you so much.
Fantastic.
So, Mr. Asamoah, the last but not the least.
but not the least.
The last but not the least. The
Last-
but
wow.
not the least. The last but not
I'll
the least.
hand over to my president.
President, the last but not the least.
Since I have been,
Let's all come together. The last but not the least.
I've
Let's all
been
come
given the
together.
imprimatur to hand over this.
No, those times they say by the powers invested in us there.
So from the 2003 year group, we called on ourselves and we did a contribution to do all these, and this is a token to say thank you. We can't pay you for what you have invested in us, but we can only say thank you. And we know that the seeds you sow would overshadow generations after you, and that through you and through us, the world would know you. Same way somebody who is now in Presec knows about you. The same way people who would come after your generations, your daughter's children, would all know that they once walked on this campus.
A great man.
A great man called Pola. So this is from us.
Thank you very, very much.
Just want to say thank you for everything.
God bless you. And thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very, very much. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. This is very overwhelming.
Yes.
God bless you too,
Very,
Pola.
very overwhelming. Thank you very, very much.
God bless you to Reverend Asamoah. We are grateful to have you in the studio. We would like to have you sometime later when you have your programs in studio and you'd like to call on any of us. We are ready to be with you. We'll also listen to you from afar, but we are always close to you.
Thank
I
you.
remember that we promised that we'll visit you at home, but let's have this here. we brought the home here, but
That's
later
right.
on we can also do that. So
Yes.
we'd like to play one favorite hymn and then we'll just disperse and call this program quits. I hope it's not Courage Brother, Do Not Stumble. Okay, so we don't have any. You can just play some song or sing something and then we can wrap up this program. Thank you very much, all the listeners and all that. Which one? Okay, let's encourage Brother. All right, so
Let's
please.
go.
Courage, brother, do not stumble. Let's go.
Courage, brother, do not.
Go down.
So if you are listening to me, we are doing this for Courage Kodom. Courage Kodom, if you are listening to us, don't stumble.
Trust in God and do the right.
Trust in God and do the right. Amen. So thank you all very much. We'll join you later on. Glad to be part of this historical moment. We are done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. God bless you. God bless you.
Students of Presbyterian Secondary School, onward we march, we charge along to happy victory, to victory, to victory. Our motto is a solid blue above in us alone. Illuminate, illuminate, to greet and give us lumen. In thy light, we
me quickly clean this.